Hello, integrated to week 7, part 3. Today we're going to multiply rational expressions. Okay. In the previous parts we talked about a rational expression. You can think of it as a fraction. So we're multiplying fractions today. Okay. We are doing the same thing as these are the same problems. This and this are the same problems. Okay? Multiplying rational expressions, multiplying fractions. So our rules are going to be the same as we would have experienced back in junior high. But once again, I know that your familiarity or how you feel about fractions, your confidence in fractions is lacking, and that doesn't disqualify you from doing this if you can factor. So I've written the rules that we're going to follow today. I'm going to do 4 examples for you, and then you're going to get the assignment. Okay, the assignment's a continuation of what I did in part 2. It's the same problems, and I'll talk about that when I spin you around. So these are all things you know how to do. So look at this right here. First thing you're going to do is factor. And I want to remind you, look for the GCF first. So if you have a trinomial, you're going to look for the GCF, and then maybe make your diamond. If you have a binomial, you're going to look for a GCF and then see if you have difference of squares. So that hasn't changed. So you can pretty much see why the third quarter, as we factored, is really important. I'm going to show you that I think the easiest thing to do is to multiply and simplify the monomials in your problem. And then we work on the binomials. Okay? We're going to go left to right in the numerator, move and cancel. Okay? And that is going to be our binomials. And I'm going to show you how we work them left to right instead of just kind of all over the place. I was watching an internet video not too long ago. They were showing the same thing. And I think the most thing about the videos is they assume that you have all this knowledge already and that you're really confident in what you're doing. And then they just haphazardly start canceling things. I'm going to show it to you in kind of a more organized way, okay? And then we're going to move the leftovers over, and we're going to clean up our final answer, all right? So, let's look at example 1. So, this is where we were a couple days ago, where we were just simplifying a fraction. So, look at this right here. I have 4 parts, okay? There are 4 separate problems. I'm going to factor x squared minus 81. No GCF, it's a binomial. One with a plus and one with a minus. Follow your rules for factoring a binomial. 2 factors of -7 that add up to 6. Would be x plus 7 and x minus 1. So you could have made a diamond. Now, this isn't in your rules, but x plus 4 is a binomial and it doesn't have a GCF. It isn't a difference of squares, so I want you guys to protect it with parentheses. So any binomial that does not break down, you simply go ahead and protect it, you turn it into a factor, and then we'll work on canceling it later on. 2 factors of -18 that add up to -7. Should be x plus x minus 9 and x plus 2. Okay, so step 1, factor your binomials and trinomials, protect with parentheses. Multiply and simplify monomials. There are none. From left to right, cancel and move binomials. And we practiced this a little bit the other day. So, I would ask you to say, hey, you have an x plus 9 on top. Do you have one on the bottom? The answer is no. I'm moving it. Okay, and I just kind of put a line through it so I don't use it again. I have an x minus 9 on top. Do I have one on the bottom? Yes, I do. I have an x plus 4 on top. Do I have one on the bottom? No, I do not. Okay? And so, I move that problem. So let's take a look again. X squared minus 81, 1 with the plus, 1 with the minus. X plus 4, right here. Okay, protected with parentheses. X plus 7 times x minus 1. And then x minus 9 and x plus 2. We don't have a lot of canceling right here. Okay? So, look what it says now. The leftovers in the denominator, so I call these the leftovers, just move to your final answer. So we're going to move them. And usually we get a lot more canceling than that. I don't know, I might have written the problem down wrong a little bit, but that's okay. Okay? So what's the title of this lesson? Multiply. So now you may ask, oh my gosh, are you going to have to multiply all these together? No, you're not. So a lot of times when we say multiply rational expressions, we don't ever actually have you multiply. You simply factor and cancel. And we're going to leave our answer like this because we're going to say that it is in factored form. Okay? So it's in factored form. I'm going to write that a little bit nicer. So it is factored form. You don't remove any of the parentheses. These all need to be protected together. So our final answer is actually our clean answer, and we would be done with the problem. Okay? Factor and cancel and move. If you can factor, I think you can cancel, and I think you can move. All right, let's take a look at example number 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 separate problems that I'm going to factor. Here's my trinomial. X minus 5 times x plus 3. Six x plus 21. What are we supposed to do with the binomial? We look for the GCF, and there actually is a GCF here. It is 3. So this is 3 times 2x plus 7. Is that the difference of squares? No, it's not. And you have factored our binomial. Remember, these are the type of binomials we did in the very beginning. Before you learned difference of squares, you were pulling out the GCF, and then we were writing the leftovers each time. Okay, 4x plus 14 also has a GCF of 2. Well, it has a GCF of 2. Sorry about that. And to get back to where we started, I get 2x plus 7. So I have 2 times 2x plus 7. I think I'm in pretty good shape. I come over here. 4x squared plus 12x. Now, don't make this mistake. A lot of you maybe are going to pull out a 4. But remember, they also have an x in common. And so I pull out a 4x, and I'm left with x plus 3. 4x times x plus 3. lot of factoring. This is going to give you a great thing of factoring. You want to remember factoring. You don't want to forget it over the summer. And so, what does it say next? Multiply and simplify monomials. So I'm going to do it this way. Now, how did you multiply fractions? You multiply tops and you multiply bottoms. Now, you could do some canceling, but I'm not going to do that here. I'm going to show it to you like we did back in January. So there's nothing to go with the 2. And 3 times 4x, numbers with numbers, is 12x. And we get 1 over 6x. So that's a very basic problem that we did in January. So 1 goes to the top. Skinny friend, he may not stay there. 6x goes on the bottom. And you've done your monomials. Okay, so our monomials are done. Once again, this is a problem. If you look at green, it's not that complicated, so make sure you are taking notes. Make sure you are putting some colors in things so you can look at them later. And now, watch what I'm going to do. I'm done. And what I want to see, or what I need to see, is the binomials. Because what are we supposed to do with the binomials? We're supposed to work them from left to right. Okay? We're supposed to work them from left to right. So I have 5x minus 5. He does not have a partner down here. We move. X plus 3 on top, x plus 3 on the bottom. That's a cancel. 2x plus 7 on top. 2x plus 7 on the bottom. That's a cancel. We work the top left to right, and now we see if there's anything left on the bottom, and the bottom is done. This is my final answer right here. Okay? If you put this on a test, if you wrote it down on a test, I would definitely mark you right. The answer you would see, or the answer I'm going to write down, is this. We don't need skinny friend, and we wouldn't need the parentheses then. And so it would be x minus 5 over 6x. And remember, that's what I call the clean version. Set your answer up ahead of time. If there's nothing on the top, great, you'll put a 1. When you do this problem, if there's nothing on the bottom, great, you'll get rid of it. But put this here before you do any part of the problem. Okay? So that's example 2. So now let's go ahead and look at example 3. And I'm going to go ahead and take this off right here. So remember, if you still need this, if you're following along, rewind it back, pause the video, do whatever you need to do. But let's go ahead and look at example 3 together. Example 3. I'll do this one a little faster. So 4x minus 28, there is a GCF of 4. Pull out the 4, you have x minus 7, and this is not the difference of squares. It's done. And remember what I'm telling you. I'm treating this as 4 separate binomials or trinomials that I want to factor. So, problem 1 is factored. Problem 2. Two numbers that when I multiply, I get negative 12. And I add them, I get 1. So remember, skinny friend could be there. Is x plus 4 and x minus 3. Problem 3 is a binomial. I'm pretty sure it's not going to be difference of squares because there's nothing there, but I'm supposed to look for the GCF first anyways. I get 5 times x plus 4. And then x minus 7 is a binomial without a GCF. It's not the difference of squares. So remember, I'm going to go ahead and protect it with parentheses. Okay, next step. Focus on the monomials. Get ready for your final answer. There are no monomials on the bottom, so we multiply the tops. And we get 20. Left to right. I have an x minus 7 on top. I have an x minus 7 on the bottom. I have an x plus 4 on top. I have an x plus 4 on the bottom. So I've worked the top from left to right. There's an answer in the denominator. There's a binomial in the denominator that I call the leftover that we move to the final answer. And our answer here would be 20 over x minus 3. And just remember what this means. You see the equal sign? If I told you to pick an x, okay? If you picked an x and you picked the number 5. If you plug in a 5 into all these and multiplied, it would be the same as this, and it would be the same as this. In fact, let's put in 5 right here. If I put in a 5, 5 minus 3 is 2. 20 divided by 2 is 10. And I guarantee you that if you put a 5 right here into all the x's, you would get an answer of 10. Okay, so that's what we're doing. We're multiplying, but we're almost simplifying. All right, let's clean this thing up. In the clean version, you would just remove the parentheses. Remember, these x's do not interact. Remember, at the final answer, when there's no more parentheses, don't start crossing out. You cancel here, and that's the only place you cancel. Don't start removing parentheses and canceling everything out. Okay, let's look at our last example. 4 problems. Problem 1. Wow, I got a 9 right here. But there's no GCF. But I do have the difference of squares. So I've got subtraction. Square root of 9x squared is 3x. Square root of 25 is 5. One with the plus, one with the minus. X plus 2. Binomial. No GCF. No difference of squares. Protect with parentheses. X squared plus 3x plus 2. No GCF. Diamond. And 6x squared plus 10x. The GCF, what's the biggest number that goes into 6 and 10 is 2. And they have an x in common. So remember, just don't pull out a 2. Okay, you need to make sure you see if they have a common variable. So there's our x. And if we get back to where we started, we get 3x plus 5. All right, let's double check. One with the plus, one with the minus, square root of 9, square root of 25. No factoring, protect with parentheses. Two factors of 3 that add up, two factors of 2 that add up to 3, GCF 2x. What do we do next? Left to right. Oh, sorry. See how easy it is to forget? There's one monomial out here. Remember, the monomials don't have the addition and subtraction signs between them. So there's no one else for him to react with. We just put them out here. Now where are we? From left to right in the numerator, you're going to move and cancel binomials. 3x plus 5 on top. 3x plus 5 on the bottom. 3x minus 5 on top. No 3x minus 5 on the bottom. X plus 2 on top. X plus 2 on the bottom. X plus 1 has no matching x plus 1 on the bottom, and it would have to be a plus 1. And so, it's a move. So we have 3x minus 5 times x plus 1 over 2x. And we don't have to do FOIL here. Remember, I'm going to let you leave these in factored form, so you don't have to do FOIL here to get an answer. So it looks a little off-center because I moved my monomial there. But if I was to rewrite this answer and make it clean, there's no multiplying, there's no parentheses to move. But we would probably center the 2x kind of over the middle right there. Okay, if you've kept pace this week, I had you do problems 1 through 10 based on the notes parts 1 and 2. And then I've given you 5 more problems today for you to finish up, and that does our week 7. So remember, the beginning of the week, it said dividing. I'll probably show you dividing around next Monday or Tuesday. And we'll fool around with that a little bit. And of course, after this week, we only have 2 weeks left. We have a full next week, and then we'll fool around with something during finals week a little bit to send you guys off. So what I'm going to do right now is, once again, you want to get dizzy, great. I'm going to spin you around and show you the problems, and then I also have the answers to the problems today. So let's spin ourselves around. Okay, so here's our week 7, May 4th through 8 assignment. So these were the 15 problems that I gave you at the end of assignment 2. But you weren't ready for these 5 problems yet. Okay? So parts 1 and 2 cover our 1 through 5, cover our monomials. And then part 2 just was like simplifying a fraction, so we factor and cancel. And then part 3 is our multiplying. Okay, and those are the 4 examples I gave you right now. So you'll be able to pause, freeze the video, and write the problems down. And then these are the answers to the 15 problems. Use them wisely. Don't use them to cheat. Do your best work. Okay, put some time. There's only 15 problems for the entire week, and I think there are 15 problems you can do. So if you find one of my answers is wrong, because I don't think I made a mistake, you better text me and let me know, because I ain't going to change the video. But like I said, just let me know. And as always, I'll see you guys next week. Please email me or text me if there's anything I can help you with. And that's about it. Let's focus on these answers a little bit more. All right, we'll just kind of let that run. So you had your first 10 problems. There's 11 through 15, and then there's the answers to the 15 problems. All right? I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care, and we are done.